Olá pessoal, aqui é o Diego do Cast for Closers, mais um episódio começando agora. O Cast for Closers, seu podcast para dominar inside sales e colocar suas metas no bolso. O tema de hoje é Sales Development e a gente trouxe uma especialista mundial nesse assunto, uma das mentes mais respeitadas, e a gente tem muito orgulho de trazê-la nesse episódio aqui hoje. Ela não fala português, então a gente vai mudar o idioma do podcast para inglês agora. And we're so proud to have Trish Bertuzzi here with us. Trish is president and founder of the Bridge Group Inc., an inside sales consulting firm. They have helped more than 300 companies to unleash the power of inside sales, as they like to say. And she also wrote the Sales Development Playbook, a bestseller and must-read for every salesperson in the world. Trish, we are so happy to have you here with us. Please be welcome at Class for Closers.
Oh, I'm thrilled to be here, Diego, and that was probably the best introduction I've ever had, especially in Portuguese, because I have no idea what you said, but it sounds beautiful.
She's so nice, just like all the interviews I've watched from you. Trish, I gotta confess, you were in our radar. 1 week before, I told my partner that we should reach big names like you, Steli Este again, and try to connect with you guys. And then 1 week later, I was saving this story for this episode and didn't told you this on email. And 1 week later, you retweeted us. So I said to my partner, God, this is a window. I'm going to reach her. So thanks again for separating this time to talk to us, okay?
Okay.
So starting with some context to you, Trish, we see many companies here in Brazil failing on sales development because they use it as a medicine to correct a sales operation that is not performing, instead of accelerating through specialization. So how can companies, in your opinion, choose carefully if they should even have a sales development team?
So I think you have to think about your market and buyer before you make that decision.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you're selling to the SMB, the small business market, and you can reach the decision maker and put them into your process and move them through your process quickly, I would not front end your organization with a sales development team. You don't need that extra step in place.
Yes.
But if you're selling to the mid-market or the enterprise, or if you're a company that is selling high in an organization, at the executive level, or you're selling something complex, or even if you just have a new sales team and they need to get more at-bats, then you should most assuredly consider sales development.
Yeah, it makes total sense because you gotta have an extra effort to reach the decision maker, and you can put an extra burden on a sales rep that is focused on closing, right? That's
correct. I'm going to circle back to something you said before, the fact that sales development is not a silver bullet.
Yes.
It does not fix a terrible sales process or crappy messaging. So in that case, all sales development's going to do is accelerate suck, right?
Yeah.
So you have to have a really well thought out process and message. You have to be relevant and interesting. You need all your ducks in a row before sales development will work for you.
Yeah, we totally agree. Otherwise, you would be accelerating to a wall.
Exactly.
So, Trish, talking to our audience, we also noticed that another challenge here in Brazil, as we get more mature on sales development, is to hire and to train our SDRs better. So could you give 1 or 2 tips for us on how to hire effectively?
So that's a tough one because it is one of the toughest jobs to hire for.
Yeah.
People are typically hiring first or second job out of college, and first or second job out of college, people don't typically know what they want to be when they grow up, right?
Yes.
So they hear about a job that's using the phone, and they're like, oh, I love the phone. Yeah, I love to talk on the phone. Although millennials don't, actually. They'd rather text and email. But
yeah.
You really need to hire someone who's curious about helping other people build a better business. I think that's the one trait you look for. Someone who cares about business, understands the dynamics of building a business, and wants to share with the marketplace ways that they can be more successful. So curiosity, I think, is one of the key indicators for a good sales development rep.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, because I was thinking right before this recording that one of the greatest parts of your book is the part where you talk about how important curiosity as a skill can be. Because, if a sales rep doesn't have the curiosity to, for instance, look for information about the company they are about to work, what are the odds that he or she will do it for a third-party company, right? So curiosity means a whole place in the hiring and good SDR, right?
Yep. So I'm going to give your listeners a little trick I use. It's called the 40-second interview.
Yeah.
So naturally, if you're hiring for sales development, your first interview is going to be over the phone. So the first two questions you ask are, what do you know about me, and what do you know about my business? And if they don't know everything there is to know about you that can be found over the internet, interview over, because they're just not that interested in the job.
Yeah, it makes total sense. We are actually asking that same questions here in our hiring process, and the bar got really higher. The bad news is the bar got higher, but you would laugh about the answers we get, like mixing our strategic partners with competitors, and that just means they are not interested enough.
Correct.
So I've noticed on some interviews that, Trish, you define sales development as a craft, like an instrument, and to master it, you need to study, practice, and develop every day. So can you share with us some insights on sales development best practices, or like companies that do it very well?
Well, the companies that do it exceptionally well would all be my clients, obviously. Anyone who's been a client of the Bridge Group has a pretty rock-solid sales development team in place.
300, right?
Yeah. Well, we're probably up to about 370-ish clients over the past 19 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I would say the people who do it well are the people who invest in teaching their sales development people how to do research, how to craft a compelling message, how to use email as something other than a weapon with which to beat people, how to have a conversation, how to understand a day in their life of their buyers and what challenges they're facing and how they're currently addressing those challenges. The people who are doing it well aren't just saying, hey, here's a list, here's a phone, go get me meetings.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's amazing how simple you put it that way. So investment in this area and crafting the right pitch and the right materials are decisive, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. We also have here, Trish, we usually have here a retention issue in the SDR role. It's a job that requires naturally resilience and patience. And we do have a lot of sales managers in our audience eager to retain more talents. Would you share a few tips on how to retain our sales development reps?
So how to retain them is answered by investing in them. So here's what happens. We hire a sales development rep, and that's a tough job, right?
Yes.
They suffer rejection all day long. So we beat on them to do more, be more, get me more. What we're missing is the fact that they want to learn how to be better. We think they're going to figure it out on their own. They're not.
That makes sense.
So I tell people, learning is the new coin of the realm. If you create a learning culture where people know they're going to learn new skills to add to their resume, those people will stay with you because that's really what they want. They want to add skills to their resume. So you need to provide them with that learning culture. And it has to also be outside the sales silo. Not every SDR wants to go into sales. So you should give them exposure to marketing, to customer success, to finance, to product development, product marketing. I mean, if you have a great SDR, don't let them leave the building just because you didn't invest in them.
Yeah, it makes sense because we are finding millennials for these jobs, and they want perfection. They want to master their craft. So it makes sense that you present other opportunities before they leave your company, right?
Absolutely. Good talent, keep them. You don't have to keep them as an SDR, but keep them.
Yes, and we have just launched a feature called Flow in our Inside Sales software that allows sales teams to work on best prospecting cadences and bring more productivity to SDRs. And we're seeing now a lot of other technologies arising in Brazil. For instance, lead nurturing, outbound email automation, and so on. So what, in your opinion, are the main gaps in the sales development scenario that technology can cover?
So, Diego, that's a great question, but first let me say this. Technology doesn't fix an issue, right? If you, once again, bad process, bad message, no technology is going to fix that. So what I tell people is, before you invest in a technology, you need to make sure that what you've built is repeatable, scalable, and works. Then go buy a technology to support whatever part of the process you think is most critical. And I think what people are doing is thinking, oh, I'm just going to buy this, and it's going to fix my problem. Okay, it's not. So I think, there's a gazillion technologies focused at the sales development arena, and the best technology in the world is nothing but great coaching and training, and then you go from there. And I say that as someone who loves technology and uses practically every single one that's out there.
Yeah, I think the phrase I've heard you saying that technology doesn't take the place of excellence, if I'm not wrong. Right, so I've done my homework.
Wow, you quote me better than I do.
And Trish, before we end, would you like to leave any final message to our audience here in Brazil?
Yes, so Brazil is hot from a technology perspective. I mean, I'm hearing fabulous things about the startup community in Brazil. And It sounds like it's so exciting and, a great place to build a business.
It's growing really fast. And you should visit. We are here in Florianópolis, a beautiful island, a very hot tech scenario here, tech startups. Growing fast here, so here's an invitation for you from us to meet Florianópolis and the tech companies here.
Well, thank you for the invitation. I'll take it under consideration.
Trish, thanks a lot for the talk. I loved it. I learned a lot. And anytime you want to talk about it again, just ask, and we'll do it another episode. Okay?
You got it.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. Nice to talk to you.
Thanks. You too.